Well, thank you very much, Keith. Good morning, conference. I want to begin by thanking you, David, and all our Labour councillors, including the 291 newly elected last May, for the terrific job they are doing, standing up for our communities and flying the flag for Labour values. You know, we may not be in government nationally, but we are increasingly in government locally. And in these exceptionally tough times, our councillors are leading the way. And if you want to find out what they're doing, then have a look at this list of achievements published today by the LGA Labour Group, which will tell you about the difference that they are making. I also want to thank my great team in the Commons and the Lords for holding this awful government to account. We're 3 years on, and we know exactly whose side they're on and what they think. Do you know what? Michael Gove said recently, and it's very hard to believe it, but he did, the reason people have to go to food banks is because they can't manage their finances. No, Mr. Gove, that's not why they swallow their pride and ask for help. It's because they haven't got any money and they haven't got any food, and instead of patronising them, we should be helping them. And what about Eric Pickles? Now, what about Eric Pickles? He told us that he was protecting people from council tax rises. But what did he do in April? He imposed a hefty increase in council tax on over 2 million of the very poorest households. Nearly 500,000 are already in arrears, thousands of summonses issued, people facing fines and even the threat of jail. Mr. Pickles, you should be ashamed of your new Tory poll tax. And then there is Ian Duncan Smith, the man who came up with the hated bedroom tax. Hated because it hits families and widows and the disabled. Hated because it's unfair, immoral, and it doesn't work. And who helped him to do it? You can forget all those troubled consciences you saw paraded in Glasgow last week. It was the Liberal Democrats who helped him to do it, and they should be ashamed of that too. And I will tell you what we will do. The next Labour government, led by Ed Miliband, will stop taxing the bedrooms we have and start building the homes we need. Now, the truth, conference, is that our housing system is broken. Parents and grandparents worry, where are our children and our grandchildren going to be able to afford to live? Young couples unable to buy their first home. Families forced to pay spiralling rents and wondering, will we still be in our home next year when the tenancy runs out? This is the reality of the cost of living crisis for many families in Britain. And what's the government done? They cut the affordable housing budget by 60%. And when the IMF said to the Chancellor, Britain should be investing £10 billion in infrastructure, and that would build 400,000 new affordable homes, what did the government do? Nothing. No wonder housing completions are at their lowest level in peacetime since the 1920s. But there is hope. Labour councils building council houses in Liverpool and Leeds and Stevenage and Southwark, in Manchester, in York, in Exeter, Nottingham, Ipswich and many other Labour authorities. Our councillors are building social homes on a scale we haven't seen for a generation. Tackling the cost of living crisis by building homes that people can afford. And conference, that's why a Labour government will help councils to build more affordable homes by reforming the housing revenue account. Now, for the 8.5 million people who now rent privately, we will tackle the unfair fees charged by lettings agents. We'll introduce a national register of private landlords, and we'll fight for longer tenancies and predictable rents so that families can put down roots. And for the millions of people who dream of owning their own home, Labour will get Britain building again. We're just not building enough homes, and yet, in the last few years, the profits of the big house builders have soared. Land is too expensive. Too often, developers hang on to it, waiting for the value to rise, and communities feel powerless. Today, Ed Miliband will pledge to change that. So what will a Labour government do? First, we have to admit something. We can't go on saying, on the one hand, where are the homes for the next generation? And on the other, please don't build them near me. Nor will we get more homes by top-down targets. Councils and communities must take that responsibility for themselves, but they need more power to be able to do so. Communities should know where the land is available. That's why we will ensure that developers register the land they own and land they have options on. And where land is not brought forward for homes, communities should be able to do something about it. And where planning permission is given, communities should be able to say to the developers, look, we've given you the go-ahead, so would you please get on and build the homes? And if you don't build the homes you said you would, then we'll charge you. And if you still don't build them, then we'll take the land off you and sell it to someone else who will build the homes that we need. Secondly, Conference, there are areas of the country where councils and communities see the need for more homes, but they just don't have the land to build them on. So the next Labour government will give those communities a new right to grow, allowing them, if they want, to expand and ensuring that neighbouring areas work with them to do so. Thirdly, Conference, it's time to build new communities, new towns, and new garden cities. After all, that's what the great Attlee government did as they started to rebuild Britain, and we need that same spirit again. So we will invite local authorities to come forward, and in return, we will make sure that they get the powers and the incentives they need to acquire the land, to put in the infrastructure, and to build those new communities. Now, getting Britain building means communities have got to take the lead, people deciding where the new homes will go and where they want to preserve. Passing down power is the answer to so many of the challenges that we face as a nation. With an ageing population, we need Andy Burnham's whole person care revolution, with local government and the NHS working together. We need more school places. That's why Stephen Twigg will get rid of Michael Gove's absurd ban on local councils opening their own schools for their own children in their own area. Too many people can't find jobs, including nearly 1 million young people. So Liam Byrne wants councils to take a lead in helping people to find work, to get the skills they need, and to deliver Labour's jobs guarantee. And we need to get the country moving. So why do we tolerate the endless journeys back and forth to Whitehall so that ministers can decide on local transport schemes when we all know, and Maria Eagle has said, local government could do it faster and local government could do it better? And what about fairness? This government has imposed the biggest cuts on our most deprived communities, and they have the nerve to give David Cameron's council an increase. It's just not fair, and a Labour government will change it. Money should go to meet need. Now, why do we need to do all of this? Because of what Ed calls the new politics. I think we've reached a defining moment for our country, a fork in the road, a moment of huge danger, but also of great opportunity. The financial crisis rocked the foundations of our banking system and our economy, but it did much more than that. It undermined many people's sense of hope and their confidence in a better future. It damaged faith in politics and its ability to make a difference. It's left a generation unsure that the future for their children will be better than the life they have enjoyed. And it's why there is, let's be honest, so much despair. I get that. We get that. But despair didn't inspire the previous generations who first brought gas and electricity and clean water to our homes, the schools that teach our children, the parks in which they play, the hospitals that care for us when we're sick, the libraries that transform lives. And despair isn't going to help us, our generation, to build the homes we need, to care for our mums and our dads when they get older, to bring fast broadband to every town and village and city, to kick out the loan sharks and bring in the credit unions, to generate our own energy, to push down people's bills. Our task, conference, is to turn despair into hope. For with hope comes confidence, and with confidence comes trust. And if we as Labour are to win the people's trust, then we must trust the people. We must be the movement that helps people to change their own lives. Yes, money may be short, but in every community, in every village, every town, and every city, there is an inexhaustible supply of energy and passion and determination and ideas. That's how we've helped to change the country for the better before, and that's how we will make our country one nation again. Thank you very much, conference.